experiment. Actually, the movie itself is called The Experiment or Das Experiment, so I recommend you to watch it. And Zimbardo's mock prison influenced how the guards and prisoners interacted. Zimbardo and his colleagues note that it was a real prison in the minds of the jailers and their captives. These two concepts of social interaction and social structure are central to sociological study. They are closely related to socialization. Remember what socialization means. It is the process through which people learn the attitudes, values, and behaviors appropriate to their culture. When the people, when they began to process socialization, people adjust to a new social structure and they learn new rules for social interaction. According to sociologist Herbert Blumer, the distinctive characteristic of social interaction among people is that human beings interpret or define each other's actions instead of merely reacting to each other's actions. In other words, our response to someone's behavior is based on the meaning we attach to his or her actions. Think about these questions, please. How do we define our social reality? Consider something as simple as how we regard tattoos. At one time, most of the people consider tattoos weird or crazy, and we associate them with countercultural groups. Remember our last class, such as punk rockers, biker gangs, skinheads. Among many people, a tattoo elicited an automatic negative response. Now, however, so many people have tattoos, including me. So, the nature of social interaction and what constitutes reality varies across cultures. Like in Western societies, with their emphasis on romantic love, couples see marriage as a relationship as well as a social status. So, the ability to define social reality reflects a group's power within a society. In fact, one of the most crucial aspects of the relationship between dominant and subordinate groups is the ability of the dominant or the majority group to define a society's values. According to the symbolic interactionist approach, people respond not only to the objective features of a person or a situation, but also to the meaning that people or situation has for them. So, an important aspect of the process of social change involves redefining or reconstructing our social reality. We talked about elements of culture in our last class, in our previous class, and right now we will talk about elements of social structure. And we can divide social structure into five elements to understand better: statuses, social roles, groups, social networks, social institutions. And these elements all make up social structures such as a foundation, walls, and ceilings of a house. So, status, it refers to the full range of socially defined positions within a large group of society, from the lowest or highest, low status, high status. And a person can hold a number of statuses at the same time. There are ascribed statuses, there are achieved statuses. Ascribed status is assigned to a person by a society without the person's unique talents or characteristics. Like if your mother is a queen, it makes you automatically a prince. Conflict theorists, that's why they especially interested in ascribed statuses because they think that conferring um, conferring privileges or reflect a person's membership in a subordinate group. Ascribed status is about this, so conflict theorists are especially interested in these. Achieved status is achieved when you achieve a status, like when you graduate from university and you become a doctor. This is achieved, obtained status. Ascribed status influences also achieved status, like being a male would increase the likelihood of a career in decrease, I'm sorry, decrease the likelihood of a career or in childcare. Given status may or may not be desirable. Your family background, your religion, these are ascribed statuses, and can place you in a positive or negative position. Some statuses can either be achieved or ascribed, depending upon the individual's circumstances. As I said, like religion. Um, so, the black activist, Malcolm X, he was a controversial advocate of Black Power during 1960s, recalled that his feelings and perspectives changed dramatically in middle school. He was elected as the class president and finishing near the top of his class academically. So, being a black man is an ascribed status, was an obstacle to his dream of becoming a lawyer, which is an achieved status. So, this is a very good example. Keep this in mind. And these are the examples of mastered statuses. Societies deal with inconsistencies by agreeing that certain statuses are more important than others, like being a duchess or being a prince or a king. And master status dominates other statuses and determines a person's general position in society. Um, Throughout our lives, we require what sociologists call social roles. A social role is a set of expectations for people who occupy a given social position or status. What do you expect from your mother? What do you expect from your father? What do you expect from your little brother or big sister? And what do they expect from you? What do I expect from you as a student? What do you expect from me as a teacher? So, with each distinctive social status, whether ascribed or achieved, these come with a particular role expectation. However, actual performance varies from individual to individual. Roles are significant components of social structures. Viewed from a functionalist perspective, roles contribute to a society's stability by enabling members to anticipate the behavior of others and to pattern their actions accordingly. Yet, social roles can also be dysfunctional if they restrict people's interactions and relationships. If we view a person only as a police officer or a teacher, it will be difficult for him or her as a friend or a neighbor. So this creates role conflicts. Role conflict occurs when incompatible expectations arise from two or more social positions held by the same person. Role conflicts call for important ethical choices. And here, use your sociological imagination, please. Think about these questions. These are important. Did you read it? Groups, in sociological term, A group is a number of people with similar norms, values, and expectations who interact with one another on regular basis. The members of a women's basketball team, a university's office, the members of a mosque or symphony orchestra, these all constitute groups. And groups play a vital part in society's social structure. Much of our social interaction takes place within groups and is influenced by their norms and sanctions. Being a teenager or a retired person takes on special meanings when we interact within groups designed for people with that particular status. The expectations associated with many social roles, including those accompanying the statuses of, as I said, brother, sister, and students, become more clearly defined in the context of a group. Social networks are also very important and they influence the way people behave. Think about obesity and healthy lifestyle. Use your sociological imagination to create a link between these two concepts, obesity and healthy lifestyle. What is the relationship? Social institutions are also very important sociological concepts. The mass media, the government, the economy, family, and the healthcare system are all examples of social institutions. Social institutions are organized patterns of beliefs and behavior centered on basic social needs, such as replacing personnel, the family, and preserving order. Government. According to functionalist perspective, one way to understand social institutions is to see how they fulfill essential functions. Like first, replacing personnel, teaching new recruits, producing and distributing goods and services, preserving order, providing and maintaining a sense of purpose. So these are important for social institutions to continue to operate from a functionalist perspective. From a conflict perspective, the present organization of social institution is no accident. Major institutions such as school, education, help to maintain the privileges of the most powerful individuals and groups within a society, while contributing to the powerlessness of the other subservient. For instance, everywhere, children from prosperous communities are better prepared to compete academically than children from impoverished communities. The structure of the nation's educational system permits and even promotes such unequal treatment of school children. On the other hand, interactionist theorists emphasize that our social behavior is conditioned by the roles and statuses that we accept. Did you remember roles? We talked about it here. Roles here. Boss, daughter, coach, lawyer, friend, assistant, sister, wife, consumer, neighbor, aunt, cousin, financial consultant, chauffeur, look, whatever. These are all social roles. So this is what symbolic interactions think. They emphasize that our social behavior is conditioned by the roles and statuses we accept, the groups to which we belong, and the institutions within which we function, right? Please be careful about this table. So let's give a break a little. Okay, let's continue. These are our key concepts, so please remember these, memorize these, understand first, of course, then memorize. Um, Modern societies are complex, especially compared to earlier social arrangements, and sociologists Emil Durkheim, Ferdinand Tönnies, Gerhard Lansky developed ways to contrast modern societies with simpler forms of social structures. So let's understand these. Durkheim made a separation between mechanical and organic solidarity. He argued that social structure depends on the division of labor in a society. A task like providing food can be carried by one person or it can be divided among many people. So, this is typical for modern societies in which the cultivation, processing, distribution, retailing of a single food item are performed by many people. In societies in which there is minimal division of labor, a collective consciousness develops that emphasizes group solidarity, mechanical solidarity. Whoops. And organic solidarity is that as societies become more advanced, they rely on greater divisions of labor. Mechanical solidarity evolves into organic solidarity, a collective consciousness resting on the needs society's members have for one another. Durkheim chose the term organic solidarity because individuals become interdependent in much the same way as organs of a human body, as heart needs the brain to operate. According to Ferdinand Tönnies, this city marked a dramatic change from the ideal of a close community. It is a Gemeinschaft to that of an impersonal mass society, a Gesellschaft. The Gemeinschaft is typical rural life. Small community, people have similar backgrounds, everyone knows one another, it's intimate, familiar social relations, and almost as kinfolk. Sense of togetherness among members. However, we know too much about everyone, like in a village. Social control maintained by informal means, moral persuasion, gossip, gestures. The lives of one generation may be similar to their grandparents. On the other hand, Gesellschaft is that an ideal community, characteristic of modern urban life that we are living right now. These people are strangers, they have little in common with others, relationships are governed by social roles that grow out of immediate tasks. Self interest dominates, and there is little consensus on values or commitment to the group. Social control rests on more formal techniques, like laws. Social change is important. It can be very evident even within a single generation. Gemeinschaft, Gesellschaft. Gemeinschaft is like a nostalgia, right? However, intimate relationships of the Gemeinschaft come at a price, like the prejudice and discrimination can be quite confining. Ascribed statuses such as family background often outweigh a person's unique talents and achievements. The Gemeinschaft tends to distrust individuals who seek to be creative or just to be different. And this is the comparison table. And we have here Lansky's sociocultural evolution approach. Oops. According to Gerhard Lansky, he has a different view of society and social structure. Lansky saw human societies as undergoing a process of change characterized by a dominant pattern known as sociocultural evolution. A long-term social trends resulting from the interplay of continuity, innovation, and selection. Society's level of technology is critical to the way it organized. Technology is the cultural information about the ways in which the material resources of the environment may be used to satisfy human needs and desires. Low level of technology may limit the degree to which a society can depend on such things as irrigation or complex machinery. As technology advances, a community evolves from a pre-industrial to an industrial and finally a post-industrial society. And hunting gathering societies, these are pre-industrial societies. Horticultural societies are also pre-industrial societies. Agrarian societies, these are also pre-industrial. And industrial societies, they depend on mechanization. As the Industrial Revolution developed, a new form of social structure emerges. Many societies underwent a shift from an agrarian oriented economy to an industrial base. It no longer did an individual or a family typically make an entire product. It no longer needed, I'm sorry. Instead, specialization of tasks and manufacturing of goods became increasingly common. And we have post industrial and postmodern societies. Please learn about the specifics of these societies. You don't have to memorize them, but you need to learn them for your midterm exam. It is important. It will be enough for you to look at these slides again and again. You don't have to like do extra work. You just have to learn these slides, and that will be enough for your midterm. And check this table also. Um, we learned about culture, the elements of culture. We learned about the society, the elements of society, and right now we will learn about identity. So, the concept of identity in sociology is a multidimensional one and can be approached in a number of ways. Broadly speaking, identity relates to the understandings of people all about who they are and what is meaningful to them. These understandings are formed in relation to certain attributes and hold priority over other sources of meaning. Some of the main sources of identity include gender, sexual orientation, nationality, ethnicity, social class. And there are two types of identity often spoken of by sociologists, which are social identity and self identity or personal identity. These forms of identity are analytically distinct but are closely related to one another. Social identity refers to the characteristics that are attributed to an individual by others. Social identities can include being a student, being a mother, being a Muslim, a homeless, a doctor, an Asian, an African, married, and so forth. Many individuals have social identities comprising more than one attribute. A person could simultaneously can be a mother, a doctor, and a Muslim, just like social roles. Multiple social identities reflect the many dimensions of people's lives. Social identities therefore involve a collective dimension. They mark ways that individuals are the same as others. Self identity or personal identity set us apart from the others. Self identity refers to the process of self development, through which we formulate a unique sense of ourselves and our relationship to the world around us. Self-identity is a set of values, ideas, a philosophy, beliefs about oneself that consists of factors such as educational performance, gender roles, sexuality, racial identity, and many others. Normally, self-identity symbolizes the answers to who am I? It is made up of one's self-schemas, so it's very psychologic, as you understand. Um, The notion of self-identity draws heavily on the work of symbolic interactionists. It is the individual's constant negotiation with the outside world that helps to create and shape his or her sense of self. The process of interaction between self and society helps to link an individual's personal and public worlds. Worldviews about the self in relation to others differs across and within cultures. And this is all for the sixth lecture. I will see you on our last lecture, seventh lecture before our midterm.